It must be at one of the designated stops listed on the tour map. Just simply wave your hand as the bus approaches to indicate to the driver that you wish to board. Use the handrails provided when moving around or exiting the bus, but it is important that you remain seated while the bus is in motion. Should it rain, be particularly careful as the steps are slippery when wet. Straight ahead is Belfast's answer to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Albert Memorial Clock. Designed in 1865 by W.J. Barr as a tribute to Prince Albert, the husband and consort of Queen Victoria. As a result of being built on wooden piles on marshy, reclaimed land around the River Farset, the clock tower leans 1 metre to the right and 1 metre backwards. It would have toppled over altogether, but for renovation work carried out in 2002 at a cost of £2 million. You would think, considering they spent that much money on it, they could have at least straightened it. It has 4 clock faces, and all 4 of them tell a different time, yet not one of them tells the right time. The clock is now a listed building. Jonathan Swift is one of the world's most famous writers. His famous satirical 18th century book, Gulliver's Travels, is probably his most famous work. It has long been said that Cave Hill, the hill lying prominently to the north of Belfast city centre, was his inspiration for Gulliver's Travels. As to him, the hill seemed to look like a sleeping giant overlooking the city. Welcome on board if you're joining or rejoining us here. Just ahead and on the left is a large ceramic fish called the Salmon of Knowledge by Belfast artist John Kindness. It's there to celebrate the return of salmon to the River Lagan. It is also said that if you kiss the Salmon of Knowledge, you will become more intelligent. That's as believable as the story of the Blarney Stone. Also on your left-hand side is the Lagan Weir, completed in 1994 at a cost of £14 million, but it turned out to be money well spent, as it now keeps the River Lagan at an artificial high tide. Because the river is now cleaner, salmon were able to be reintroduced to the river in 1994 after an absence of over 200 years and have been returning to breed ever since. We've now moved from County Antrim into County Down by way of the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. The Titanic boat tour operates from here, and your city sightseeing ticket can be upgraded to include the tour of the Titanic Quarter by boat. Coming up is our stop for the Odyssey Complex and the Premier Inn Hotel. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. Famous musician Van Morrison was born at 125 Hindford Street here in Belfast. His long and successful career saw him win countless awards, including 6 Grammy Awards and a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Starting off in the 1950s, he first came to attention through songs like Gloria and Brown Eyed Girl, and before the decade was out, the all-time classic album Astral Weeks was recorded in just 3 sessions. He was knighted in 2015, but according to legend, the famous man objected to a blue plaque being placed in his honour on the house where he was born in Hindford Street, even though he no longer lives there, and the current owners welcomed the idea. We are now entering the largest waterfront project in the British Isles, the Titanic Quarter. This area was previously known as Queen's Island and was the hub of the Belfast shipbuilding industry. It is now home to the Titanic experience. Ahead on the left is the SS Nomadic, the last of the White Star Line vessels in existence. The Nomadic was built as a tender for the Titanic. Now fully restored to its 1912 luxury, the Nomadic is open to the public. Coming into view is the incredible Titanic experience. The building that's bringing so many more people to Belfast than ever before. Built at a cost of £97 million, it's been worth every penny. It's not a museum, it's an experience, and one that most people won't soon forget. Welcome on board if you are joining or rejoining us here. The large red brick building on our left is the original offices of Harland and Wolff. Behind this building, Titanic and Olympic were built side by side. When launched, the Titanic was the largest ship in the world and the heaviest weight man had ever moved. But Olympic was by far the most successful of the 3 Olympic-class ocean liners launched. After 20 years' service, Olympic had attained the nickname Old Reliable. Look to the left to see where Titanic was launched on the 31st of May 1911. 100,000 people turned out to watch the event, but it was all over in just 62 seconds. In keeping with the White Star Line's traditional policy, the ship was not formally named or christened with champagne. Many felt this tradition was tempting fate, and maybe it was, as the Titanic was not their only tragedy, nor was it their first, as both the Naronic and Atlantic were also lost well before the Titanic. Ahead on the left is the HMS Caroline, a C-class light cruiser from the First World War, brought to Belfast in 1924. She is the last surviving ship from the Battle of Jutland in 1916. She has been floating on top of the water for most of the time that the Titanic has been underneath the water. She received a £12 million lottery grant to enable the ship to be restored. Some of these old buildings here have been found new uses and highlight just how much Belfast has seen its major industries change over the years. One such example is Titanic Studios to the right. It is used by film companies like Universal Studios and was recently used in the HBO series Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has done a great job in showcasing Northern Ireland's beautiful scenery, as much of the outdoor scenes are filmed on the beautiful North Antrim coast on the route up to the Giant's Causeway. The Tom Hanks produced movie City of Ember was also filmed at Titanic Studios. Tom Hanks and Bill Murray came here after scouring Europe for a set big enough to build the entire City of Ember set inside. This is our stop for the Titanic experience, and by far our most popular stop. All the buses stop here automatically and usually arrive here at both 5 minutes past the hour and 35 minutes past the hour. The buses only pick up at these gates on this side of the road. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you.